Should be good. Just checking to see if we are muted. And we are ready to roll. Hey, everybody.
Hello, hello, hello.
Happy Tuesday. As you come on, please do drop into the comments below hi and where you are coming in from. A lot to cover tonight. This is a meaty training. Nancy, we just kind of were doing some pre-prep before, and just some kind of encouragement for today's training. It's a training, but almost I would say a / co-working session tonight, because we're going to be teaching you certain things that we do, and we want you to start thinking outside the box. So the more that you participate in tonight's training, the better, because you're going to be able to not only learn from what we're going to go over tonight, which is designing your CEO schedule, but actually we're going to be applying it live and direct tonight. If you do have an unmuted line, make sure that you do mute out your line just in case as you come on, so we have some clear lines. Just some general housekeeping as always. The replay will be sent out tomorrow morning. It's the same replay link. So if you watched the replay in this morning's email, it's the same one. It's a landing page that each day is going to be uploaded onto. We're going to be announcing 4 winners at the end of tonight. And there's going to be more prizes obviously given out tomorrow. So there's going to be 2 Instagram and 2 homework winners announced tonight. And kudos to everyone that participated. We read through almost all of what you guys put as far as what your bottlenecks were. And it was awesome to read, in the sense that, we're so happy that people are, self-aware, and you're acknowledging that there are certain areas of your business that you need to focus on. The second thing is, a lot of people said how they felt after last night's training was overwhelmed. And what I'll say is that's a good thing, because for a lot of you, you maybe didn't know what actually goes into running an online business or running a business. Because once you take a peek behind the curtain, we're letting you into what we do every single day. Granted, we're a few steps ahead of some of you. We have 10 people that we actually that work for us that obviously we have to manage as well. But all the things that we've gone over, all the things that we went over last night is exactly what it means to run a successful business. And we want to teach you all of those things. Now, before we jump into tonight's training, remember, you can watch the replays in the replay page link. It's also going to be in the Facebook group in the guides section. And some people have invited people to join the Facebook group or to join the training. If you have done so, just remember it's a paid workshop. So if you have the registration link that you used, all you have to do is send it to whoever you want, because the replays are available until August 7th. Now, just as a reminder, what time are we meeting tomorrow and Thursday? If you know the answer, type it into the chat. 7 Central, 8 Eastern. That's right, 8 EDT. 8 EDT. Now, the other thing that I want to go over with you is what time is our happy hour session on Friday? Happy hour session on Friday. What time are we meeting? 5 o'clock. That's right. And then again, for those that did not join last night, we're doing a bonus session on Saturday morning. We call it our brunch session. What time are we meeting on Saturday? 11 a.m. That is right. Now, again, if you have invited people to join the Facebook group that are not registered for the event, they will not be approved. I messaged a couple of you because you were inviting some people, which is fine. Those people just have to register before they do get approved to join the group. Now, before we jump into day 2, type in the chat box, what was your biggest takeaway from night number 1? What was the biggest aha moment or needle mover for you in regards to night number 1, where we were helping you identify the bottlenecks in your business? Yes, 11 a.m. EDT. We're going to be sending an email about that, Joe. So we're 8 tomorrow, 8 on Thursday, 5 on Friday, 11 on Saturday. How to do a profit and loss for your business. Yep. Yeah. And that's the thing. Understanding your P&L, understanding, your hourly rate, create your own onboarding. Yeah. Again, customer experience is everything. And no matter what kind of business you're a part of, make it your own. Just as an example, if you are in network marketing, just because you partnered with a company doesn't mean you can create your own process. You can create everything. You can create the own onboarding, your own emails, all of those things. You can make it. Very discouraging to understand my hourly rate. Yeah. And that was a big aha moment for a lot of people, namely us, when we really started to take a look at this a number of years ago. We're like, wow, we could be doing a lot better. So
yeah. And that's what, the book Profit First, I always laugh because I think the subtitle, it's like how to take your business from a money eating machine to a money making machine or something along those lines. And it's like, until you actually look at some of these things, I mean, it's so eye-opening. And it's okay though, because you actually taking the time to look and actually dig in a little bit deeper helps you course correct, and obviously move forward in the right direction.
Yep. So definitely the financial pieces. Yeah, I'll tell you, Nancy will let you know that I am very on top of the financial aspects of our business. And it's something that, she's been learning to get better at, because we would sit down, we would put everything on a spreadsheet. We would really start to understand, what's our profit margin, all of those things.
Well, yeah. And it was so funny. I know this sounds so ridiculous, but even for, because obviously we have multiple businesses, but the accountant was like, I think it's time that you guys really, get a bookkeeper, or you get, certain things in place. And so this was a journey that obviously we've been going on as well. And when you actually get your business tied into something like QuickBooks Online, once you plug it in and you connect it to your bank account and you make sure that all your expenses go through your bank, your business bank card and everything's right there, and you can pull up your expenses, you can track things, and QuickBooks makes it easy. So now monthly, I mean, obviously we're going to eventually have a bookkeeper, but I'm kind of doing everything and I'm liking it because again, it's causing me to actually put my hands in it, see what's going on in my own business, and really has helped with so many things.
Yeah, Holly, it's called Profit First. Profit First. Wonderful book. Yeah. You'll literally open up 5 bank accounts the next day. It's pretty amazing. And again, we're just sharing a lot of the things that have helped us along the way. And that's we want to save you the headaches that maybe we had and we didn't want to have and shouldn't have had, but now we don't. And obviously now we're passing that on to all of you. So if you're ready to dive into night number 2, this is a chunky one. So we are going to be, I don't want to say moving quickly, but we have a lot to cover. But again, remember, this is like half training, half co-working. So we're really going to plug at you and really encourage you to bring a lot to this training. So if you guys are ready, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. Now, as always, I'm going to share my screen. Before I get the presentation up and going, I'm going to make sure that the panel is hidden. So if you could comment in the chat box that you can see the screen perfectly. A lot of the faces are gone, just to make sure. So Y or yes. Okay, good. All right, let me get the slideshow up. And then, so day number 2. So again, we want to kind of plug back into what we went over last night, because, we want to, not being organized in your business can leave you that overwhelmed, unproductive, inconsistent feelings like you're spinning your tires. So again, our goals, just to reiterate, get you organized, productive, consistent, so we are moving forward with momentum. So again, download the workbook, participate, do the work, apply what we teach. Now, obviously, you know what we went over last night. Tonight, identify what needs to get done each day, creating that CEO schedule.
All right. So as we're kind of starting to dive into tonight's training, I want to go back over so what we kind of covered in day one. So yesterday was all about assessing your business. And I promise you guys, now we're going to start to kind of break through the next layer. Day one was really, I always use the analogy. It's kind of like dumping out the entire kitchen drawer, that kitchen drawer in your house that there's lots of stuff. And it's just putting it all out there. And the reason why I put that assessment on day one is because that is what I used to do with clients. Anytime I onboarded a new client and I had to do some project management, we had to get things in place. We always dumped out the kitchen drawer, right? To find out where we might be needing to tweak things. Now, so as yesterday, obviously we learned those core 3 processes. I want to go through, sorry, I can't see what that says. And you're clicking through.
Where do you want me?
So let's see. Sorry, guys. It's just a little hard because we got the chat box in the way.
What page?
The one after that. That's good. All right. So in your homework, you guys identified your bottlenecks, right? You went through and just circled, right? The things that you want to accomplish or eventually do in your business, right? We're not saying that you got to get it done, by the end of the week or anything like that. It's just assessing the things that you want to start to implement. Now, I want you guys to drop in the chat box one thing from the assessment that you're going to start working on in your business.
So there was a lot of things on that checklist, but the overview document. Yeah, that's awesome. Yep. Client onboarding process.
Yep.
Yes. And again, these are all different things. We have all these in our business. And again, depending upon where you are, some of those things on the checklist may have been applicable. Say some may not be applicable right now. Creating my onboarding process for clients and business partners. Yep, absolutely.
Excellent.
Email sequence automated. Yes, Liz, that's very, very important.
All right. Awesome. Okay. So next, you can go to the next one. All right. So the thing that I want to talk about first is, and I'm going to talk about this probably every single day before we continue on and on and on to build our business out. I keep going back to just ensuring that you have a clear vision of what you want your business to be. Are you in this business? I know you guys, some of you, right, figured out your hourly rates and your eyes might be like, whoa, what am I doing? Right. And you might need to assess things a little bit. So what I want you to think about is, what are you building? Is this helping you work towards that business that is going to give you some time freedom? I've worked in masterminds. I've been part of masterminds where all the people were building out these multi-million-dollar huge businesses with tons of team members. And I'm like, I don't want that. I didn't leave corporate and managing 500 plus team members. I didn't leave that so that I could just go and have to do that again. So I love the small and mighty business model. But you got to get clear on what you want. Okay. So I added this slide actually before this training, but because this is something that I had heard at some point. I can't remember where I heard it. And it was, look at your business and look at your business as a whole, almost like you're creating a symphony. Okay. It's this beautiful work of art. It's this wonderful, song, but it takes one note at a time to build that beautiful work of art, right? It's one note at a time. And we can't put these notes all over the place and we can't, sporadically try to go about it. It's one at a time. And you guys are only one person. Okay. So all those things from the assessment, it might not happen today, might not happen tomorrow, might not even happen this year or the next couple of years, but those are things to strive for. And at the very least, we wanted to show you what some of the key processes are in a lot of successful businesses. All right. So we already kind of touched on this, which is your vision. The other thing that I wanted to share with you guys is being clear on what you want and having passion and drive to achieve the business you're envisioning is key. Because when your days get tough and you are on the floor crying and you get one more bill in the mail and you're like, oh, why? This is going to be what brings you back, right? You have a mission. The other thing I share too is if you have wishy-washy goals, that usually equals wishy-washy results, right? I love that. We're actually in our mastermind, we are reading this book right now. Marie Forleo wrote a book called Everything is Figure Outable. Yeah, and it's a great book, but she makes a really great point. Okay. So today's overall goal is we need to identify what needs to get done. Okay. And like Scott says, we are going to be highly Like we're going to do a little co-working session here. So we really need you guys to participate. And there is no perfect science to this. We're going to kind of brain dump and we're going to think about different things that we need to get done in our business. So first, we're going to start with the core processes. We're going to go through each one. And I want you guys to actually have a pen and paper. And whether it's your workbook or just a blank piece of paper, I want you to be prepared to start writing down some things. The other thing that I want to remind you is we're going to be going through this training. It's going to move pretty quickly. You guys have access to the replays for a reason. So if you find yourself going, whoa, 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 what did you just say? And oh, can we go back like 3 slides? It will be okay, right? We're going to send you the replay link, I promise. And you guys will be able to obviously pause. You can kind of go through and hash some of these out a little bit more. But the whole purpose is I just want you guys to actually sit in this right now and think about what actually has to get done in your business. Okay. No more flying by the seat of your pants every day. We actually got to be intentional here. All right. So the fact is, and this is obvious, but we have 24 hours in a day. All right. And we need to be realistic. You can't work 24 hours in a day. So there are even some of you, right, that are working part-time. So I want you guys to drop in the chat box. How many hours a day do you have to devote to your business? Is it 3? Is it 2? Is it 4? Is it 5? Is it 7? Okay. So how many hours do you actually have to devote to your business? Because we're going to be talking about it a little bit on both ends of the spectrum.
Now, again, along with what Nancy said, with the perfect science, there is no perfect amount of time that you need to work on your business. Some people are very productive in 2 hours a day. Some people need 6 to 8 hours of work. Now, transparently, Nancy and I, we work 3 days a week, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. On the days that we do work, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, we have a block between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. to get done whatever we want to get done. Now, that doesn't mean we're working the entire time. If there's things that need to get done, we have those blocks of time to do it, whether it's creating a sales page or writing out some emails. Some days I was done at 3:00 today. So it's different for each person.
Yep. And we're going to actually share our schedule, in a couple slides. So a little preview there. But, before we actually share that, I want you guys to really be realistic to how many hours and how much time you really do have to devote to your business. Because the other little tricky thing, especially with entrepreneurs, and this happened when I first started, I had no boundaries. Okay. I didn't put a cutoff time, and it was before I met Scott. So here I was single, starting a new business. I was working my butt off. In fact, I had no turn off. Okay. Which meant 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, right before bed, there was no wind down. I was still working. This is how he was.
Same situation with me when we first started dating. I was coming out of a stretch of 7 or 8 months where it was just me and Taylor, and it was not uninterrupted time, but I was just focusing on growing my business. And when we started dating, and I was taking phone calls while we were out and, doing calls on weekends, I had to reprioritize exactly what I wanted this business to look like.
Exactly. So you guys are going to see shortly, we're going to share our routine and kind of how we protect our time. But I also want to share with you guys before we even advance, you are always going to have a never ending to-do list. Okay. And you are never going to feel that it's all done. It's never going to happen, right? We're always going to have things to do, right? It's the never ending story, right? Like that movie. It's always going to continue, but what you have to do and what's going to give you grace and peace and let you go, oh, okay. You have boundaries, put boundaries in your day, do what you can and give yourself some peace. Okay. So what we're going to do, and this cute little guy on the screen, we're going to do a little brain dump. Okay. So I want you to start to think, and I want your little gears to go. Okay. What needs to get done in your business? And we're going to go through each of the little, processes that we talked about. Okay. And I want to actually start picking your brain about some things. So we're going to kick it off with, okay. Sorry, I got my slides backwards here. So before I kick it off, I want to share with you. So I have icons. One looks like that thing on the left, which is like a little project. And the one on the right is that little yellow with the check mark. And that is actually a routine. So there's a difference between things that need to get done. There's projects, which are one-time kind of single things. And then there are routines that you should implement in your business. All right. So we're going to kick it off with operations. Okay. And within operations, we're going to talk about, a few of the different things. So, number one, I want you to think about, all right. And I don't want you to close your eyes or anything, but like, I want you to think about what products or services need to be created in your business. Okay. And you guys have your workbook. Okay. And I don't know if you can see me or not, but in your workbook, I have that little page and it says day 2, what needs to get done. And you've got a spot there where you can put down projects and you can write down, different things. If you are currently in the process of creating a product or a service, or you have that as part of the plan, write that down now in that section. Okay. And you guys feel free to share. Like I said, this is kind of a co-working session.
Like, what are you working on? So, for me, I'm tying up the loose ends for my new LinkedIn book that's coming out at the end of next month. So that's on the product side. We're working on some new courses that we're creating, but there were a lot of things that we had been creating over the last week or so that were really on the product side that had to get done. And as far as operations, and Nancy, she gives me to-do lists all the time, whether it's, writing out email sequences, or creating landing pages, or building a course out. So you can write it down, you can type it in the chat box. What are some things that you are working on from a product or service-based need for your business?
Yep. Yeah. And again, this is going to apply to some people, other people, maybe you want to fine tune or maybe adjust, how you're communicating something, but whatever it is under there, I want you guys to write down what is a product or service that you're working on.
Oh, I love that. Monthly free workshops leading up to a paid masterclass.
Excellent.
Love that. Yep. And
Awesome.
Website and email chains,
Converting
creating and defining my
workshops.
focus, converting workshops. Yep.
Excellent.
Awesome.
All right.
The
We'll
sales
get it
system.
out. Right. I want you to feel, right. This is also supposed to be like, let's get it out of the brain and let's get it down on paper.
Yep.
Okay. The next is what routine needs to be put into place to deliver an amazing client experience. Okay. So I shared with you, a couple different things around, client experience. And again, this is in your workbook where you can jot down some notes. Is there something you want to start implementing maybe around client follow-up, right? So maybe someone hires you and currently they just hire you and then, maybe you don't connect until your first call or something. And maybe you want to do a better job of sending out reminders prior to your calls. Maybe it is just checking in with them, right? If you work with clients for long periods of time, maybe it's checking in between calls. Thank you notes, right? Something that I think is, again, extra special, maybe sending out thank you notes, maybe once a month to, clients that you've worked with. Or
tell them what we did for some of the new members for the mastermind. What did we go do?
Well, you can.
It's about client experience, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you.
No, it's so basically we sent some care packages with a handwritten note.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm like giving Scott though. We got a lot to cover here, but like, yeah, I mean, definitely we want to like, make sure to put it in routine if we want to do special things. I actually work behind the scenes of a client that had an automation on the back end, which again, that's a whole nother layer, but it actually triggered to send a bouquet of flowers, after a certain action. It could have been the person's anniversary or birthday or something like that. But that kind of stuff is so thoughtful. And honestly, I try to be better with it. I even downloaded an app to remember all my family and friends' birthdays. But you know what, whatever works for you. But these are some routines that I just want you guys to think about eventually putting into place. The other one is testimonial requests. And this one's huge because this helps build the brick house of credibility for your business. So make sure that you are putting that on the radar and you are setting reminders. Okay. All right. So, all right, I jotted down quite a bit of things here. So this is one of those slides where I'm like, all right, if we need to go back, during the replays, that's fine. But I just threw down some different administrative tasks that might need to be done. Okay. And I put these on here because one, checking and responding to emails, I can't reiterate this enough. And I think a couple of you actually posted in the group. If you have a habit of checking your emails all day long, you are going to be unproductive, or you're going to be less productive than you could be, because checking those emails throws you off task and it can really shift your focus. So if you limit yourself to maybe checking your email once in the morning, maybe once in the afternoon, and once at night, Awesome. I even talked about a little hack, which is a autoresponder. So you can actually put up, at all times, right? Some people just save this for vacations, but you can put up an autoresponder at all times and say, "Hey, thank you so much for emailing me. I totally got your email. Just letting you know, I will respond. I check my email a couple times a day, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can. In the meantime, if you have any questions, go here or something." So you can absolutely do that. The other thing is calendar management, right? Do you currently have a process or a calendar system in place? File management. I could talk all day long about the hierarchy of like Google Drive folders and all that kind of stuff. I love to geek out on that. But how are you currently managing all your files and all maybe your videos and content and things like that? Research. Do you have a process in place for researching? Okay. This could be content, it could be training, it could be ways to generate leads, different things for your business. Okay. Reporting, answering support tickets. I'm just throwing things out there. Again, they're not going to apply to everyone, but these are things to have on your radar and to think about. Maybe you want to start doing it in your business, right? Because the goal here is we're getting it all dumped out on paper, and then getting it into a routine. Okay. So next is marketing and sales. All right. This is the big juicy one. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up. We're going to park here for just like, a little bit longer than the others. I want to start with just what needs to be done when it comes to social media. Okay. And I put some ideas here. One is planning out your content or actually creating a content strategy. Right? How many of us are just flying by the seat of our pants every day, just posting because we're like, oh, I need to post something. We want to create a strategy. We want to have a reason why we're doing what we're doing. We want to put goals out there. Like, what are we trying to achieve in our social media? Okay. Content creation. Are you making time to actually create your content? I can't tell you how many people I talk to and they say, you know what? I struggle to create content and do whatever. And first question I ask is, have you actually blocked out time on your calendar to sit down and work on doing this? And most of them say no. So we got to stop putting your business and you on the back burner, right? You're helping so many other people, you're helping all your clients and you're doing all these things, but you are not protecting that time that's going to really help you be successful. Okay. So the next is content scheduling, and then engagement on social media, right? The connecting and the engaging that needs to be done. So I want you guys to write down again, this is in your workbook, or if you have a blank piece of paper and a pen, I want you to jot down what needs to be done around social media in your business. All right. So moving along, now we're going to talk about generating leads. All right. So I want to kind of throw this out there, but what are some different things that we can do to connect and engage on social media and generate leads? So I want to throw this out there to you guys. What types of activities are you currently doing to actually generate leads, to warm up your audience? What are some of the things that you're doing? And Scott, what are some of the things that you do?
You came up for air. So obviously you guys know, connecting on LinkedIn. I do have a very strict routine. So when I'm connecting on LinkedIn, I message people each day. But also when I produce my podcast, I specifically look to interview people that would be open to a podcast swap, and not to kind of go too far over people's heads. But that's when one podcast hosts guests another one. So if Nancy has a podcast, which she does, she would have me as a guest. I would have her as a guest, and that way we can plug into each other's networks. So I do that through something called matchmaker.fm. But also I now use LinkedIn for that. I'll literally go on and I'll search business podcast host, and I'll start connecting with people that way. Engaging in my Facebook groups is another way that I generate leads. Workshops like this, my LinkedIn lives, if any of you watch those, which are Mondays and Thursdays on LinkedIn, I do free trainings, and it's all to promote and put myself out there. And I'm generating leads every single day. And that's the thing. You need to have a strategy of how you are connecting and engaging all the time. And, the one thing that I do love is LinkedIn is free. Your Facebook groups are free. Podcasts are free. A lot of the things that we teach, the tools, but also the processes, require zero money. They just really just require you to actually put in the work. So those are just some of the things that I do. And again, you can drop into the chat what are the things that you're doing to generate qualified leads, because here's the big thing. I always make sure that whatever I'm doing from a connecting and engaging standpoint, these people are qualified. I'm building the know, like, and trust. I don't just want a slew of leads just to say I got leads. I'm qualifying people for the most important thing that I can offer someone, which is my time. So here are some ideas of what you can do. And I know it's a lot, but these are things that we do. So, Facebook groups, whether they're your own, or whether you join other ones, you can choose 3 to 5 to engage, connect, look for collaboration, swaps, provide value, answer questions. It's something that Nancy and I do often. We'll go in, we'll say, hey, who would like a free training on content creation? Who'd like a free LinkedIn training? Your Facebook group at this stage, everybody, you should have your own Facebook group. If you're looking to have an area where you have warm bodies, where they become warm leads, where you can nurture people, you need somewhere to funnel them outside of just your general Facebook friends list. You need to get them into a container, and that's what Facebook groups are good for. Podcast guesting. Again, if you don't have a podcast, no problem, man. You can go to matchmaker.fm. So Nancy's going to type it in the chat box. It's www.matchmaker.fm. It's not a dating site. It's actually for people just like you to go on there and search out podcasts that are kind of in the realm of your zone of genius, whether it's health and wellness, whether it's business, and you can apply to 10 different podcasts a month to become a guest on. Booking sales calls, collaborations, videos that have freebies in them, hosting events, much like some of you posted earlier in the chat box. Speaking events. I'm going to Florida in September. I'm speaking to a company, which is a lot of fun. Instagram, interacting, guest blogging, connecting on LinkedIn, obviously, reaching out to current networks that you have, but also power partners, people that you can link arms and collaborate with, hosting a summit or event, much like what we're doing right now. Local events. So where you can kind of rub elbows, right? So whether it's going to LaTip or going to BNI or just a general networking group, but also joining those same kind of associations and going to events. Nancy and I hosted an event earlier today. There were 1,100 people that registered for the event. And it was a free training teaching them, building out their personal brand on LinkedIn. Now we have 1,100 new contacts of people that we can now start to nurture and connect with.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I, just to tap back into the associations and events, there are so many associations and different things that you can join. So just think about the industries you're in. And I know some of you are already like, of course, I'm already part of, whatever. But I want you to think about even, the entrepreneurs out there. There's so many associations and different things like, there's the Women Business Owners, Association, Female Entrepreneurs, like, there's a Female Leadership Association, Speaker Hub. Like there's tons of different things that you can join. But a lot of times, right, if you think about the products and the things that you offer and the things that you serve, how can you show up and give these people value and obviously be there, be present, and whenever they need help or, need you, you're going to be the first person that you think of.
Now, the good thing is everything that we're going over as far as a routine, you don't have to do all of these. We're just giving you ideas where you can actually take each one of these little areas of your business and create your own CEO schedule. That's the big thing.
Yeah. And there's so many different networking groups too. Like going back to what we were saying before, there's like Happy Neighborhood? Happy Neighborhood is one that I was a part of. In fact, I got a really great deal on Zoom. I think I pay like $24 a month for, being able to have 1,000 people on. But Happy Neighborhood is one, I would take a look, see what else is out there. A lot of times this isn't the first thing that we think of, but having some of these, access to different people who are probably looking for you and might be looking for you for what you have, you're able to get in there, share value, obviously build the relationships, and then go forward. So these, again, like Scott said, these are things like all things you should be doing. And guess what? There's a lot of stuff outside of this maybe you should be doing. Like, for example, if you are a realtor, Are you doing open houses, right? Are you doing certain things like that? So obviously there's lots of different things that you can do for lead gen, but you need to go through and again, brain dump some of those things that are working for you in your business, and that you want to stay consistent in, because the goal is we want to pick out those things that are working and that makes sense. And we only have so much time, right? So we've got to put that in our schedule.
So if this makes sense, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. And again, Nancy will always tell you that this is one of the most, if not the most important arm of your business, is generating leads. Because if you don't have leads, you don't have opportunities to grow your business. That's one of the main focuses. Nancy and I are always focused on what can we do to obviously do more to connect with more people.
Yep. So next up, that I want you guys to kind of think about and brain dump a little bit more is your sales process. Okay. And what I mean by sales process is think about the different things that you might want to implement in your business that don't currently exist, right? So that could be maybe building out a sales funnel, for example. So maybe you want to iron out a couple things on your website. Maybe you want to create a lead magnet, which is another word for freebie, right? A free way to collect emails, or an email sequence, and again, you can do this in any different profession. Okay.
Any business.
Even if you're a doctor, if you're a realtor. In fact, I used to have, years ago, it was like, how to steps, when you make an offer on a house, it was like all the steps you had to go through to get to the finish line. And that was a free download that was on my website, where I could collect emails. And in that email opt-in, it was like, where are you located? And are you in the market, to actually look for houses? So you can do this in any different aspect, depending on what your business is. And really, there's lots of different things, in your sales process. Maybe you want to have a better way to track your leads, right? To actually, write down how you're getting leads, or have a CRM or something like that. So again, I want you guys to just go through and whenever it comes to your sales process, start mapping out those things that you would like to get accomplished. All right, moving right along. Next up is financial. Okay. So in your, financial process, when it comes to budgeting, what needs to be created? What needs to be put into place? Okay. So I know with budgeting, one thing that I actually put on my calendar is revisiting my monthly subscriptions and my monthly expenses. Ooh, baby. I did that a couple months ago, and I canceled like probably 5 things. I had even subscriptions on my phone. It was like meditation apps. It was like all kinds of random stuff. So just think about, maybe you have a routine for checking, where expenses are coming from, and maybe rebudgeting, or maybe you want to actually adjust and say, you know what, I'm only going to spend this much on automation and software until I hit a certain, point in my business. Next, when it comes to reporting, what needs to be done there, right? And in fact, a lot of, behind the scenes of a lot of successful business owners, a lot of them do a weekly, a monthly, or a quarterly business review. And it doesn't have to be this big, huge, meaty business review. It could just be some of the basics. Again, how much did we bring in? Did we hit our goal as far as how many, sales calls closed last week? Just different simple things. In fact, you can even Google, quarterly business review or a business review, and you'll probably find some pretty cool stuff. But I want you guys to, again, think of some basic things that you can track. And obviously financials are a good one. But think of some things around bringing in money that you'd like to, measure and report on.
Yeah. And the one big thing is we want you guys to be excited about this, not, overwhelmed in a good way, because Nancy and I were just talking at dinner, these are the things that you guys need to know that I really don't feel a lot of entrepreneurs are being taught. I don't think entrepreneurs are being taught, budgeting and doing all these different things. It's so important for all of you guys to run successful businesses, but also to have them structured and ready to be successful. So if that makes sense, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat box.
Yep. Yeah. And we just talked about accounting. So taking the time to map out what needs to get done. Okay. So this as it feels, right? If we're like, this is like so much, whatever, it's going to set you up for success long term. Again, like I mentioned, right, that beautiful symphony. Okay, it's going to be a beautiful symphony, but it's one note at a time. And what are those little things that you're going to start to plug in that are going to help things? It's going to change your business, really, because I even mentioned it. We can set goals all day long. right? I don't want you to be an expert goal setter. I want you to be an expert goal achiever. And to do that, you've got to put systems and routines in place so that every day you're working towards and getting closer to what you want to achieve. Okay. I really liked this quote. I actually pulled it the other day. Totally randomly saw it. I think it was posted on YouTube, but most entrepreneurs fail because they can't handle the boredom of doing the mundane that causes them to be great.
Oof.
And this is what we're talking about, right? That stuff that sometimes we feel like, is this working? Like, I'm going live. Is anyone really watching? Like, those kinds of things. Those things build off of each other. In fact, I mean, I've been a witness. Everything I tell Scott to do, it's so funny. He's great for like a really good list, right? Because he'll go, all right, I'm going to go do that. So I told him, this was years ago, I'm like, you know what? I just listened to Russell Brunson's podcast. It's short, it's sweet, it's so fast. I love it. You got to start your podcast. It'll be great. He literally within like 2 days went out, started his podcast. And it was so funny because like within the first couple of weeks, it was like, oh, we've got one person listening. And then it was like, oh, we've got 2 people. And then like even months later, right? It was 20, 30, it was a slow build, but where it's at now.
18,000 people a month.
In how many different countries?
97.
97. And we still, I mean, leads come in every day. People saying, oh my God, I listen to you all the time. And people, it's insane how it builds.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost 4 years later, but it's the compounded effect. That's the whole key.
Absolutely. So now we're going to start talking about what we're going to dive into, right? So part of tonight's homework, and that's to give you a little preview, is we're going to dig into actually creating a schedule to help you drop in some of these things that need to get done. Okay. And Robin Sharma, he's actually like a really great mindset coach. He always says, what gets scheduled gets done. Okay. Now that you know what needs to get done, or again, I know we're flying through this. You guys are going to have to park here for a little bit. And, tomorrow I do want you to go through and jot down more. But now that you know what needs to get done, it's time to break it down. Okay. So these slides, you guys probably aren't going to be able to see. Some of the words might be a little bit small, but I'm going to talk through some basic overviews of what a day might look like as a part-time coach and a full-time coach, or a part-time, entrepreneur, full-time entrepreneur.
So just going to kind of walk you through it. So the part-time coach, they wake up at 7, they work out till 8, they have breakfast from 8 to 9, 9 to 10, they get ready. 10 to 4, they have their regular work. 4 to 5, they drive home. 5 to 6, they have dinner. 6 to 7, family time. 7 to 9, side business activities. The full-time coach or full-time entrepreneur, that could look a little bit different. 7:15 to 7:30, they're brushing their teeth. 7:30 to 8:30, they work out. Not 8:30 to 9:30, breakfast. 9:30 to 10:15, get ready for the day. 10:30 to 11 a.m., check emails. 11 to 5, business activities. And again, that is literally our schedule. So, I mean, I don't know if Nancy put our schedule on here. She did put our schedule on.
This isn't the one, but yeah.
So we have a very, very specific daily schedule, which we're going to go over.
Yep. So as we look at this slide, right? So this is an example of a part-time coach or a part-time entrepreneur. Okay. You sometimes have to get a little scrappy. Okay. Whether it's dealing with the kids, whether it's having to, do certain things at home, right? You are kind of obviously working different hours and you're trying to get what you can, okay, to get certain things done. So this is just an example of, if we're going to go through and say, all right, 8 to 5, I'm at my, full-time job. 5 to 7 is going to be dinner. It's going to be hanging out with the family. And then at 7 o'clock, say, you know what? I'm going to go peek, step away for a couple minutes. I'm going to jump on a couple coaching calls or, whatever you have planned, and then work a little bit in your business. I'm not saying this is exactly what's going to happen every day, right? Sometimes we know that life just gets in the way, things pop up, things happen. But the thing is we still have to plan for success. We still have to give it a little structure. Otherwise we are just jumping on, and what ends up happening? Oh my gosh, I have an hour right now. So what am I going to do on social media? And then you really don't know what to do, right?
The other thing is the reason why, a lot of you may be doing this part-time, you start to protect your time much more. So if you don't have certain things written down, as Nancy said, it's going to start getting filled with other things, and you're going to get pulled in different directions. That way, if someone says, hey, you want to do this, hey, let's do that, you got to start booking that time ahead. I'm going out to dinner with two of my best friends next week, but we planned that dinner 2 weeks ago because we all had to correlate with each other's schedule what day works best.
Yes. And, again, I'm giving you a very generic, and before we even go to the next slide, I do also want to throw in there, and I kind of drop those words down at the bottom. Over the weekend, you can also think about this. Okay. I want you guys to obviously protect your time. So if it's Saturday, Sunday, you're spending time with the family, awesome. But if it's going to help you and for your peace of mind, and I just know my own anxiety, right? I love to kind of know what to expect in the upcoming week. Sit down for maybe just like 10, 15 minutes and map out your week. Okay. If you know that you've got doctor's appointments, you got things going on, and you're not going to be able to, do your normal schedule, what types of things can you actually put in place and say, you know what? I'm not going to get everything done, but this is a couple things that I want to make sure to get accomplished. Okay. And the other thing too is I want you to actually work in time for training. We oftentimes, right? Think of how many courses you guys have probably purchased, or how many things maybe you've been meaning to get around to. Block out time for you to actually complete that. Give yourself an hour. Now, you don't want to go crazy and go down the rabbit hole, and then it's like 5 hours later and you're still watching the same thing. No, give yourself maybe a protected hour of learning time. Okay. Or something like that. So this is a very high level. And that's the thing. This isn't a tangible schedule. Like, this doesn't say specifics. I just wanted to kind of share with you an overview of what this could look like as far as like chunking out your day. Something that Scott really helped me with, especially whenever I, first started, was time blocking. Okay. So I just kind of want to share with you what this might look like. And again, this is the part-time coach of what it could look like. So let's say you go to your job, your full-time job, 5 to 7. Again, that's the U time. All right, 7 o'clock, we're going to go ahead and check emails now. Okay. So up to this point, you've been fully present, right? 5 to 7, fully present with the family. 7:15 to 8 o'clock, that's the time that you protect to engage and connect on social media, right? Any routines that you have, whether it's, adding or following and engaging with people on Instagram or LinkedIn, calls, that you have scheduled, or, maybe you want to schedule a couple lead calls, follow up, building your network, 8 to 9. So if maybe you wanted to actually have that in your schedule every Monday, that's the day that you create content for the week ahead. So that's just, again, a very high level example, but I do want you guys to get a little bit more specific. Okay. I give the example on Tuesday, taking care of some of those projects, right? So see, I have that in the schedule. So if you guys actually want to start implementing maybe an onboarding, little worksheet for people, or maybe you want to put into place, something with your clients, or, maybe with how you, onboard, different people, that's where you can spend the time to start working on that.
If you make yourself available all the time, people will take all the time that you have. And it's okay that even if you're doing something part-time, if you make one of your days the days that you connect with people, because again, if you're doing calls every single night, then you don't have time to create your content. You don't have time to work on any projects.
Yep.
You don't have time to do anything else that is focused on your business. You have to really block everything out so you know exactly what needs to get done on what specific day. So you're running that well-oiled machine.
Yep, absolutely. And I even put in here, maybe Wednesday and Thursday, you want to protect, 8 to 9. Those are your times where you have coaching calls, and again, I always thought in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I don't make myself available at all hours, people aren't going to work with me, or they're not going to be able to. In fact, guys, I can't tell you how wonderful it is feeling to create your own boundaries. I've actually worked with people where they're like, you know what, we aren't I'm not able to meet with you until like 8 o'clock at night. I don't work that late anymore. So I've actually told clients it's not going to work. Or I told clients, are you able to actually move some things around and meet with me at like 4 or 4:30? And they've made it happen. If they really want to respect your time and they actually really want to work with you, they're going to make it happen. Scott shared earlier, right? He used to take calls. We were on a date. This was like early on into dating. And he took a phone call on a Saturday at a restaurant while we were eating. And I told him, I was like, this cannot go on. I said, you make yourself way too available. And I said, that's awful. Like, give yourself some time to enjoy yourself. Like you don't need to be on call. And I promise you, once you put those boundaries up, it's really going to help with some things. And you're actually probably going to open your eyes and realize, whew. All right. So we're going to cruise through a couple of these things. So, again, this was the example of a full-time, this is actually our schedule basically. But I'm just sharing some high level time blocking. So again, 10 to 10:30, that's checking the emails, connecting on LinkedIn, could be, between 10:30 to 11, client onboarding, client coaching calls, 11:30 to 12, social engagement, lunch, make sure to make time for lunch. That's something that sometimes I forget, but make sure to block out time for lunch. And then again, you can see throughout the week how I've actually spread out, maybe I'll have lead calls, or maybe I'll be doing a business review, or maybe creating content. And someone shared earlier, I think Carla did, that you can actually time block in your Google Calendar if you use Google. Of course, you can do that in iCal and different things as well. You guys can actually time block your schedule and block out what you're going to be doing each day. Okay. So it's pretty neat what you can do these days with scheduling. But the fact of the matter is that I want you guys to think about your CEO schedule. Okay. And in your workbook, it's actually got a little thing where you guys can go through and actually realistically map out what needs to get done. Okay. So we're going to dive into the next part. Okay. So, and again, guys, I know for time purposes, we're going to kind of keep cruising through this pretty quickly. But this part, what I'm about to go over, is usually what most entrepreneurs are missing, okay, when actually mapping out and organizing what needs to get done in their business. Doing this one simple exercise is really going to help give you so much clarity, okay? And I learned this. I keep saying I've learned so much from working behind the scenes with clients. The most high-level successful client that I ever worked with had an amazing team, and every month they would actually revisit their big year and whatever we called it. It was like a marketing calendar or whatever. And they had everything mapped out, and it was so wonderful. So in your workbook, there are pages with the upcoming quarters.
Q4.
Okay. So I put in there, right? Your August is in there. We still got a little bit left in August coming up, which is happening before we know it. Mm-hmm. Obviously September, and then we've got October, November, and December right around the bend. Okay. So we still have time to get certain things done. But in this exercise, what you do is you actually just take a look. And even if you didn't want to use your workbook, let's say you just wanted to actually take a blank piece of paper, and at the top of that piece of paper, write the month. Okay. You can write out January, February, March, April, blah, 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 for the rest of the upcoming year. Okay. Put it down on your floor if that helps. And you can start to write out things. Okay. So the first is major holidays. What things are happening? What significant things are happening that month? Okay. If you're a realtor, what things are happening in your town? Is the town fair happening? Is, there's something in the neighborhood that usually comes up? Let's say maybe as a business coach, January is a really good time to start goal setting and planning for the upcoming year. So I want you guys to write down different things that are happening in each month. Even if let's say that you're going to be on vacation one of the months. Let's say you're taking a trip to Disney World in November or something like that. Note it, okay? Because what we want to do is, again, get this stuff out of our brain and be planful when it comes to our business. In the worksheet, it also goes through content, like focuses, and it's got like different things that you can really think about. So what I want you guys to do is also start mapping out some different content focuses. So I want you to drop in the chat, what do you guys do? Okay. And again, this is going to help because obviously we're going to share some examples and things like that. And just cruising along, right? So I shared before, different months mean that certain focuses might spark, they might actually be really good for certain times of the year. Okay. So January is a great time, to goal set. It's New Year, right? So a lot of people, it's a great time to do a business review or goals for the upcoming year, things like that. I broke down all the different months, even in February, it's a great one to focus on connection, relationships, self-care, March, new beginnings, all kinds of different things. If you're an accountant, for example, if you're in the financial, think about tax season, right? Are there certain things that you can do to help your peeps with tax season? All different things. So I want you guys to think about your industry And I want you to really jot down. And that's why I kind of mapped it out
What's
on
going
your
on in May?
May. I was like, I don't even know, whatever, more of the same, whatever. So anyway, all that good stuff, right? So that is writing down, again, all the major holidays, things that are happening. Even if you have a vacation, jot it down. Content focuses and themes, that we just kind of started just jotting down. And then the next step is actually planning out big things happening in your business. Okay. And for people on here who are, wellness coaches, business coaches, people who, again, have certain things that they really want to roll out in their business, you guys could be writing a book, starting a podcast, whatever it is big that's going on in your business. Start to plan out those, what we call A-level launches. And when we say A-level launches, and you should do about 4 per year, right? Once per quarter, that's when you're launching, again, products. It could be launching a new service. It could be, oh my gosh, guys, I just created this thing. Maybe you're running Facebook ads to it. You're doing speaking engagements, all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah. If any of you guys are doing any free challenges, you can do like a free 3-day challenge every quarter that could lead people obviously to entering whatever business that you have.
Yep, absolutely. And I put in here too, membership doors opening, book launch, mastermind, group coaching program, whatever it is. And to keep in mind as you're doing this, November, December are really tough months. And so are June, July, and August, right? We got vacations, we've got family stuff, all kinds of that. Okay. So as we go through, the next thing to think about is what we call B level.
Go back real quick. We can slow down. That people will stay on for a couple more minutes. You're not going to type Y or yes if you mind if we go over a couple minutes. You guys gonna are you guys gonna be mad if we go to like 9:03? Is that okay? Yeah. All right. So I just want to everyone take a deep breath. Okay. So here's the big thing. You guys can't see our office, but literally Nancy and I, we map everything out. So we call it our happening board. So we have a happening board sitting right behind here, all the things that we want. We have a huge whiteboard on the side of my office right here, where we have every month written out and everything that we're going to be promoting, launching, filling that specific month, whether it's my book, her book, BYOB social, expert authority, whatever it is. So we know exactly what needs to get done. And then crazy enough, we have 3 calendars. So we have the current month calendar, very big. And then we have the 2 calendars, the 2 months leading up to it. So we're always mapping out anywhere between 30 to 90 days ahead of time.
We have the whole year up, yes.
And we have our entire year broken down. And then again, so it's so important for all of you. And I know that a lot of this to some of you on here, this is a lot of, new information. It's like going way over your head. It's okay. These are the things that we wish we were taught when we first started, no matter what it was. Even when I was doing network marketing 5 and 6 years ago, I could have succeeded so much more if I had stuff like this. If I was actually doing free challenges and all of those things, I missed out on a lot of opportunities, but I learned a lot through that experience. And then everything that we're doing now with our company, growing and scaling it, man, it's amazing. And, Vanessa said it's a lot. It is a lot. But we want you to understand when you see people succeeding in business, this is the peek behind the curtain that you need to see, because then you start to appreciate, wow, there's a lot that goes into all of that. And again, we always think about having some video cameras set up to actually see what we're doing all the time, because it's a lot. And we really want to give you guys the information, but also encourage and empower all of you to really be the business owners that you want to be, to understand that there's a clear path for everything, right? We're walking on a beach right now, and we want as many people as possible not to walk behind us, to walk alongside of us. That's the key. We want to bring as many people as we can. I wish these things were taught more often, but they're not. Because again, a lot of people get overwhelmed, but this is why we're doing this for all of you, because we want to make sure that you have the keys to the castle, you have the keys to the kingdom, and you know exactly what needs to get done.
Yep. And even before you, and just to touch on what we call B-level launches, even if like, and again, this can apply to everyone's business. Okay. Because a lot of time we think of launches like, oh, we're launching a product or we're whatever, even if, and I keep going back to real estate agent, just because like, again, history. But it could be actively focusing on something during that month. Okay. If it's maybe you really are focusing on, generating X amount of leads, or maybe in your network marketing business or business, you want to get so many sales calls right under your belt. So those could be things that you're going really hard after. It could be building your email list. And in fact, some of those busy months that I talked about, the June, July, the August, right, are good months to focus on those types of things because a lot of people, right, are super busy. So anyway, so those are just some things to think through. And whenever it comes to just, again, like everything that we put in place, this is a blank piece of paper, right? And we talked about mapping out your quarters. Just get it out of your brain, right?
Yeah.
We're not trying to tell you to run your business by memory, right? We want to get it out here. We want to actually plan out what it's going to look like. We don't have to wait till January to do that, right? So that brings us home. All right. So just a little reminder, again, take the time to do this. And, I've kind of already learned so much. I think I wanted to cram so much information in. I might have crammed a little too much right into this training. So I think we could probably cut it down a little bit more next time. But really, again, guys, I wanted to share with you the tips, the tools, the tricks, the things that people are doing behind the scenes that I always was like, Scott, what are we missing? Right? What are the most successful people doing? How are they mapping out their days? What are they doing? So at the very least, I want you guys thinking. I want your gears turning. I want you to get excited about like the future and actually getting things built out in your business. Okay. Because even if out of all this training, you put one simple routine in place and you sit there and you map it out and you go, you know what? Every day I'm going to connect on 3 to 5 Facebook groups and I'm going to engage and I'm going to pour love and I'm going to engage and connect with people. And I'm going to obviously provide value. Even if you started just doing that one thing,
Yep.
I promise you,
Makes a difference.
it makes a difference.
So a couple things. Number one, I just wanted to wish this one over here another happy anniversary. It's our 2-year anniversary today. And we love the fact that we get to spend it with all of you. The second thing is we just wanted to thank all of you. July is a very weird time of the month for or the time of year for a lot of people, a lot of vacations, a lot of stuff. And we had about 115 people register for this workshop.
Yeah, I was
surprised.
like, let's get 50, because it's at such an odd time.
And again, we're just so grateful that all of you are here with us. And again, we're really excited about this workshop because it's completely different than things that we've trained on before, because we said we need to help business owners in a different way, not just generate leads. We need to give them, a schedule, a routine. So your homework for tonight is take the time and create your own CEO schedule. And it could be super specific. It could be very foundational. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a picture of it, with your phone, because it's a piece of paper. You're going to take a picture of it with your phone. And all you're going to do in the homework thread at the top of the Facebook group, you're just going to drop a screenshot or a picture of your CEO schedule in the chat. So you'll see it'll say day 2, Nancy's homework thread. And yeah, Chelsea, you can screenshot your Google Calendar. Absolutely. So if you already have something scheduled out, as Chelsea does, you could take a screenshot of that with your phone and you can drop it in the comments under the day 2 Nancy's homework thread. And again, just remember, we're doing 2 homework winners tomorrow night. You just have to have your assignment in by what time? Oh, we're going to announce that in a second, Laurel. What time do you have to have the homework in by tomorrow night? That is right, 7:30. And again, I love what Jenny just put there. She goes, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Apparently, this cohort of students is ready for you, Scott and Nancy. Thank you so much. So 7:30 tomorrow night. So again, the replay email will be going out tomorrow morning. We have 4 winners to announce tonight. Nancy, if you want to get those out. We have 2 homework and 2 Instagram winners to announce. So the 2 homework winners, Craig Pendleton and Rose Diaz. And the 2 Instagram winners, Colleen,
That spell corrected. Colleen.
well, Laurel Rolls is 1.
Yes. And Colleen, sorry, did a little spell correct on there. I'll get it.
Yep. And we're going to get Colleen's name in a second. It's I know it was from Instagram and it didn't have her last name on there.
Oh, it didn't?
No.
Oh.
It's on the Facebook group. I know who it is. Colleen, I'll track you down and find you. So we'll be doing 2 more winners tomorrow night. Just remember, make sure that you have your homework uploaded. There it is. Oh, Colleen Demke. Colleen Demke. And again, anyone that has invited people to join the Facebook group that is not yet registered, make sure you do send them the registration link so they will get approved into the group. And again, what time are we meeting tomorrow night? 8 o'clock. That's right. Nancy?
All right. So as you know, I just wanted to thank you guys for staying a little bit longer with us. But the next step with tomorrow is actually going to help you again. We're kind of shaving these things down. So we did the assessment on Monday. Today we really talk through, right? Getting your gears going, thinking about the things that actually have to get done. And then tomorrow I'm going to give you a way that you can actually organize it all and have it, in a nice little container.
Yep.
So,
So tomorrow night, we are going to be organizing your business. So we're going to start putting the pieces of all this together. So remember, create your CEO schedule, take a screenshot of it, whether it's your calendar or the piece of paper, post it in the day 2 homework thread, and we'll see everybody tomorrow night. So everyone, love and gratitude. Great job all day.